What's going on, guys? Ironcane here, back with another Rival the Breaker Season 3 video. And today we are doing a tier list and I have some help. I have the homie Stray. What's up, Stray?
What's good, guys? How's it going?
So we just got done doing the passive tier list. So if you guys want to see that, that is going to be on Stray's channel. It should be up around the time this video goes up, if not the exact same time. So please check that out. That one was pretty long because there's a lot of passive skills to talk about, but a lot of fodder, of course, to talk about as well. But active skills, luckily, there are not as many, but there is a lot of good ones. So it might be a little more difficult in terms of like the order and like placing things. So without further ado, me and Stray, we kind of like toss it off back to back here. So I think I see a couple that I want to do for the memes, but I don't know if we should save them for later. But let's start with a toughie, bro. Let's start with fake death.
Oh, okay. That's actually a really good one.
Yeah, that's a toughie, man. Because I know there's some people in the community. If you guys don't follow Breakers on Twitch, Italian Bronx guy, like he is like the fake death king, bro. He has like there's like tons of setups he does with it. It can combo into like solar flare. It's good to like, you know, avoid detection of the raider. It notifies like lock on and whatnot. But Stray, what do you think about fake death?
So I think a lot of people would compare this with camouflage because they both take off the lock on. But personally, I think fake death is really good. Like you said, I think it treats, you know how you can normally de-change and it pushes back the raider.
Yes.
I think that has the same timing as fake death. So when I de-change in solar flare, that usually lands. And I think fake death can do the same thing. Like you said, Bronx does that all the time. And I personally did it once where the raider was just destroying a bunch of city towers I was in, and I used fake death just to hide because I was level 0. I couldn't do anything else. And he just couldn't see me because, of course, there's no lock on. And raiders usually just don't pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the only weakness in terms of like the camouflage element or like kind of like tricking the raider is the fact that if you take damage, like that red ring is still around you, which kind of sucks. I mean, especially with the gauge, does this nullify the gauge? I forget if it does.
That's a good question. I'm not too sure. I don't run at the raider with fake death, but
yeah. But I mean, it is good for knocking them off the STM, and with it having such a short cooldown. And again, with the gauge being a thing as well, with it being so difficult to get the raider to be knocked off, I feel like fake death, honestly, the stonks have gone up for fake death because of the gauge. So I think A is totally fair in my opinion. It has a very short cooldown. If you max it, I think it's 25 seconds, right?
Yeah, I'm good with A too. I just like the iframes on it too. You can use it to dodge certain moves and stuff.
A lot of different setups with fake death. Personally, I don't use it all that much because it does take a lot of skill and a lot of timing to use fake death. So I will admit that for me, it is one of the more difficult combos or things to use like correctly. So it does take some practice. It's not one you can just like rock use and you you know, get the best usage out of it like a barrier IT. But you know, fake death is definitely a pretty good option. But Stray, what are you looking at here next?
All right, I'm gonna go with kind of like my secret fave, even though I don't have it on my main. Let's go Nimbus. Let's put Nimbus up there somewhere.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. So I mean, previously, dude, if you asked me season 2 or 1, I would put this bad boy in D. I would put this bad boy in D. But with its buff and you know, the fact that Bike is basically fallen off a cliff, I feel like at least it belongs in B. But do you think it belongs in A?
I'm okay with B, only on the sense that you still, I think, need to equip a passive to help it. So there's that. Like, it could be a waste of a passive slot, but I think it's just good because you can fly around, key radar, Dragon Ball radar, right? You can, it's like easy delivery service, and like you said, outruns, or I don't know if you said this yet, but it outruns so many raiders, key blasts.
Yeah, dude, I remember when you were using it, you were outrunning Ginyu, like not like a level of Ginyu, like legit Captain Ginyu himself, like with his key blast for a little bit, like that was kind of crazy.
I'm okay with high B right now. I don't think there's too much to say about it. There's no like secret tech you can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about it is kind of neat and fun is that like typically raiders don't look up. So if you fly all the way to the top of the map, normally you're kind of clear and you won't get found. But you're also probably not doing anything up there, so you're not really helping your
Yeah,
team
yeah.
out. So it's very selfish technique, but it's kind of fun and silly the fact that you can do that. But
Yeah.
I'm glad it's been buffed. I kind of wish that like it kind of worked the way it did in Kakarot, where you could like kind of spin and dodge with it. Like that would be cool. Might be a little OP, but I feel like what iconic Nimbus is, I'm glad it got the buff because it was dog water before.
Oh yeah, it was. You reminded me that it got buffed. I forgot it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude.
Went so slow.
Even with the vehicle speed boost, it was very
Yep.
very bad. But yeah, no, it's pretty solid now. Next up, let's do Instant Descent. I'm curious what you think of Instant Descent.
Okay, so my first initial thought when this came out, I was like, "Oh man, that's sick! It can be paired with landing delay. You can go super fast, but it doesn't do any of that. It literally it's just for that one purpose of just getting to the ground faster. The only use I've ever found for it, if you're not trying to like throw Baba into the mix, is when you knock the Dragon Balls off the Raider when they're incredibly high up. You use it right where you knocked them out of. You are somewhat safe. You go down, the balls still have to fall a little bit, grab it, you can get out. Like that's generally what I've only used it for. And since it only has that one purpose, I'd place it somewhere like C, B tier, but it's okay. It's an okay move.
Yeah, I think it is like fairly. I mean, it has a really quick cooldown. It's 30 seconds, but it is a shame that it doesn't work with landing delay. Because I think I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh my god, like landing delay, that would be sick. Or like using it with like a floating device where you could like bounce yourself off it and like get extra height. But I don't even think it works like that either. So unfortunately, there isn't like too much crazy tech that you can do with Instant Descent besides like what Stray mentioned and like getting the Dragon Balls faster. But I mean, I feel like for Baba, it could be pretty cool. But in terms of like most games, I don't really see the usage of it. But I mean, I guess if you're luring the Raider to like chase you high above, you use this like to dust them, break their ankles, kind of get some usage out of it. But I feel like compared to a lot of these other actives that we're gonna talk about, I feel like C is fair, and I feel like D might be a little too harsh, but it would be high D. I feel like
I'm okay with C for now.
Yeah,
until
C is fair.
Yeah.
Let's do the Stinky Shoe. Stray.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, man? I think
I'm thinking A. If not, the only reason I would not put it in S is because it can be negated by Ki Blast.
Yes.
But that's about it.
Yes.
Other than that, I think it's a great stun. Gets rid of the lock on for the Raider. Lasts quite a long time.
Yeah.
And short cooldown.
Yeah. I just want to check out the cooldown, but it is one of the longer stuns. Like I feel like in terms of like the stun, like totem pole, I think it goes Solar Flare, Krillin Shoe, Charming Pose. Would you say?
I think so. If not, then Charming Pose and Shoe are like the same.
Yeah, just about. But yeah, no, 30 seconds is pretty solid. I mean, the only thing about this, I mean, it's a shoe, right? So it really shouldn't like track. It like goes like in a linear direction. So like if the Raider is flying like to the left or right, it's not gonna like follow them, right? Like the shoe can't it can't fly, right? It doesn't have a mind of its own. But yeah, for like potentially being a 25-second cooldown, if you max it out, I feel like it is pretty solid. It comes out fairly quick. I would say quicker than Solar Flare. So I feel like for that reason, I feel like A is totally fair. I mean, we could make the argument later on to like move it above Fake Death and whatnot, but I feel like it's pretty fair to put in an A personally.
Yeah, if it didn't have the getting rid of the lock on thing, because I think a lot of people forget that it does that. The Raider can't lock on when you get hit by it.
I actually didn't know that either.
I think it would be a little lower, but
yeah,
it's great.
That is cool that it gives a little more usage there.
Yep.
Alrighty. Which one do you want to do next?
Let's do. Let's just get out of the way, bro. Let's get Scouter up there.
Dude, Scout, I saw it. Where the hell is this freaking passive or active, man? Oh, here it is. Here it is, dude. Bro, honestly, I think this one is so bad, we could put it in a meme tier of its own. Like, it is insanely, like, garbage. Like, there are some skills that are, like, miles beyond better than this one, and it has lesser, like, cooldowns. Like, it doesn't, I don't know why, I don't know what the devs were smoking when they made this skill have a 90-second cooldown. It makes zero sense.
I don't know what they thought we were gonna like find Dragon Balls with it or something, because like it's so pointless, man. And plus, it's already an item in the game.
Yeah,
like,
and you want to know what's great about the item Stray? Is that you could use it whenever you want, bro. You don't have to wait 90 seconds in between to use it. I mean, I guess the only argument that you can make is that like say if your item scouter gets destroyed, you can't use it again. But like, bro, I think there's like 3 people playing this game that actually is like using scouter like that often, right? Like it can help in a pinch, like when you're, you know, you don't know where Civ is, but that's pretty much it. That's like the only usage out of it, right?
There's really not much unless you want to find Goldo's stupid ass and like beat him up. Like there's not much to it.
Yeah, so I feel like D is fine. Honestly, we could make a meme tier down the line.
Yeah.
If we wanted to. All right, so next up, let's do backup attack. Backup attack. I feel like if the gauge system wasn't a thing, it could probably be somewhere like in C and D. But I feel like with the gauge and the fact that you can use it pretty much from a very, very far distance from the raider, I feel like B is fair. What do you think? Like low B? You think that's...
So I think it's low B. So the difference between the stuns is, the good thing about it, like you said, is the knockback gauge. It gets rid of all of it, right? If it lands, I'm fairly sure. But the only bad thing about it not being an instant stun is, let's say the raider's on the time machine and they're about to destroy it, you activate it. If they're very close, they don't have to run from it, right? They can continue destroying it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't get there fast enough and destroys. But other times, if they're trying to finish off a survivor and they got a long animation, like Cell and Boo, and they press it, they won't be able to finish it, right? So it wastes their time. You can buy a couple seconds, and if they're not destroying the time machine fast enough, you can buy a couple seconds for the time machine. I think it's a good mid-tier ability, and like you said, you can use it from a safe distance.
Yeah, and I actually have it maxed out because I showcased it, revisited it, and it has a 40-second cooldown, so it's not bad if you max it out. Yeah. Like that's pretty solid as far as like cooldowns go. But I think there's another active skill on here. Eventually we'll talk about it, like Chi-Chi's, the Bansho Fan, that I feel like basically serves the same purpose, knocks the raider back further, and has a shorter cooldown. So it just, you know, in terms of like value there.
Yeah.
I guess do we actually just want to do that one next, or is there one that you want to talk about?
Yeah, might as well, because in a way they're kind of like counter opposites of each other. One is a fast, further hit, and the other is just like a AoE long, like takes a while to hit.
Is it on here? Am I crazy? Oh, here it is. All right, so we have Bansho Fan. Do you think it belongs in A or high B, would you say? If it's A, it's low A, I'd say, right?
I'd say low A for the main purpose of, I've been against a pre-made with 4 people running it. Like, I think I told you this. And it is mighty annoying trying to keep my Dragon Balls on me when they can just slap it out of me and I go so far back, and then someone else just comes and hits me again, and I go even further back. So teamwork wise, this active skill is a pain to go against, but if it's just one person, you can kind of play around it. But I think it's still good. It instantly gets rid of a knockback gauge, drops the Dragon Balls, pushes them far, like you said. I think it's low A. That's my idea.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's basically a free rocket, right? And with the implementation of the gauge, it's definitely gained a lot of value. I will say, when Chi-Chi originally dropped, everybody was using wall, and I saw like very, 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 very few Bansho fans. But now, honestly, it's actually reversed, where I see lots of Bansho fans almost like every other game, and barely any walls. So I feel like Bansho Fan is pretty solid. I think it does definitely belong in its spot of A.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Next up, let's do change camouflage, right? Change camouflage. Now, I mean, this active skill is not the greatest. It's very fun. It's definitely one of the most fun active skills in the game. I don't think it is Scouter tier, but I don't think it's higher than B. I think C is fair. That might be a little kind. What do you think?
No, I think C's good, just because the anti-lock. I know he screams change, but you know, you might want to start playing where, like, if you see the raider and you think he's coming, change so he doesn't hear the change, and then, you know. But then again, raiders can just destroy everything, so yeah.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, previously, this move actually got nerfed a long time ago. Originally, I think it did negate key sense on activation for a short amount of time, but they got rid of it. So it kind of sucks because that was like one of the only counters to key sense, to my knowledge. So now it just negates lock on, which, are you really going to be using this like in the middle of a fight?
Yeah.
Like, I doubt it.
And you might turn into this, like, Hercule statue. Like you might not even get a good props.
Exactly, yeah. I think it's a very fun ability, but in terms of like its practicality, I don't think it it deserves like any higher than C. But C is fair.
Nah.
C is fair.
That's a good place for it.
Do you actually, before we move on, do you think it's better than Instant Descent? Or do we want to like do that later?
If I'm looking for team purposes, I think I can juke more with Instant Descent than Change.
Fair enough.
Like, that's a good question. If I ever use Change, I'm usually doing it before the Raider spots me, right?
Yeah.
And I can move along with it, and I can get to where I'm trying to go. But it's not like I can't do anything while I'm in there, right? Like I can't, even if I get to where I need to go, I would have to exit out of the camouflage.
Bro, have you used Baba with Change?
Yeah, and flying like a flying
dude,
bench
it is the funniest thing you can do in the breakers, bro. Just like a floating bench, a floating rock, a floating statue. Yeah. It is hilarious, bro. Some of the most fun I've had on this game. For hilarity, I might put it in S, but in terms of practicality, yeah, I think C is pretty fair. What you're saying when it's in Descent, I can see what you're saying with that as well. So I think that's totally fair with that. Alrighty, so next active stray. What do you want to tackle?
Let's look at Grapple.
Grapple.
I know this might be an easy one. Let's see.
Honestly, bro, I feel like this is like a staple for me. I think it's easy S.
Yeah.
Easy
it's a staple for everyone. I'd put it S. The only argument I'd ever try and make it to A, and I don't think it's even enough, is when it just goes slow randomly, and I still don't understand why.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like nobody knows. Nobody actually knows why this goes slow sometimes. It's very
I've
strange.
tested like different terrain, like if I jump on grass and then use it, if I jump on cement, or if I'm in D change and I was flying fast, or I don't know. It's just, or if I'm in a panic state with the Raider, it feels random, and I know that's not the case. There's got to be a way.
Yeah,
but
we just don't know.
I can't pinpoint it.
Hey, I'll say this straight. If the Breakers guys are at Battle Hour and I go again next year, I have to ask them, bro. What is the science behind Grapple Device, dude? It's like no one knows. But this active, they've touched this active a lot actually, because it's just been so good. It's a staple. It's literally they equip it onto your kit even if you don't touch the game and do anything. They originally had a 60-second cooldown. They changed that to 70, and they adjusted the range most recently, and the speed slightly. So the range is the only nerf that I personally really notice. The speed, I feel like, like you said, when the randomness kicks in, you definitely feel it. But when you get the fast grapple, I feel like it's not that noticeable. It's really just the range at times that I feel like, damn, bro.
The range is killer, because if you used it a lot, season 1 and 2, you know how far you could go with that thing.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like another active skill on this list, which is Zipline Device, which is one they actually adjusted. That in terms of range is far superior. But I feel like what holds that back is the fact that you can't use it in the air. If you could use it in the air, I would say it might have been better than Zipline Device or Grappling Device.
Absolutely.
But since we're on the topic of it, do you want to just I guess we'll do this one.
Personally, I think low A for Zipline.
Low A? Yeah.
Maybe mid A. I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah, I feel like at the very least high B. I feel like anything less than B is insane. But I feel like a lot of people sleep on the Zipline Device. The fact that people can use it is very, very cool and fun. If say you need to defend the Super Time Machine, you want to put a Zipline Device nearby, you can use it like that. If you're trying to give someone escape that you just res, you can use it like that. If you're trying to summon to a different pedestal, there's so many usages that you could use Zipline Device for that I feel like people don't use. But it's a very cool supported passive active. And it can be destroyed. That is one negative about it, that it can be destroyed, and the fact you can't use it in the air. But anything else you want to add, Stray, in terms of that?
I mean, the only time I've seen it at its best is when the time machine's up, and people are throwing them across the time machine so they can go on it, jump off of it, throw a stun, and then get back on it and escape.
Yeah.
But usually for people that don't have jump pad, I mean, it's a good spot. It's a great ability. Would I want it over Grapple? Probably not, unless you're on a pre-made to make it more fun. Zipline's definitely more fun in my opinion, but
yeah. Yeah, if it worked in the air, I feel like the conversation would be a lot different. But I feel like that is definitely the reason why it's.
The one thing I will say though is if you do have like Shenron and you're trying to summon him, and the raider has area destruction, if you set up a zip line to like another place, and usually it's blocked off by a lot of stuff, but there are some maps where you can get a zip line directly to the next spot. That's a great use of it, which is really good. But
yeah, I feel like the thing is just, in my experience, in solo queue especially, nobody's using this, sadly.
Yeah.
But in pre-mates, it could be a lot of fun, whether you're using it or you're being able to take advantage of someone else using it. But yeah, I mean, we might move it to B. Like A might be a little too generous.
Yeah, A is pretty generous, but we'll see what else is up there.
Yeah, I mean, at most it's low A. Like it's not moving from like the end there. Alrighty. Let's do telepathy. I feel like in the context of a pre-made, and even like not in a pre-made, it's useful, especially at the beginning of the game. Like if you don't have your D change and whatnot, I feel like it can be useful. But I don't know, man. What do you think, Stray?
The only use I know for it is, like you said, beginning of game. And then the other one that I don't see a lot of people doing it with is when you're trying to summon Shenron and you don't see him.
That is very true.
So you know like where he is and if you can get it in time, right? But other than that, like I like it when someone's using it on my team. I love knowing where the raider is all the time.
Yeah.
Especially like Cybermen. And if Ginyu, maybe if you want to jump Ginyu, but I think C. If we're gonna be anal, I don't know if like it's above instant descent because it's like a team thing. But
yeah, you know that's fair. I'll put it above instant descent for sure. I think that's totally fair. But it has a fairly short cooldown, 60 seconds. Unfortunately, you know, if you are free to play, you are gonna have to purchase this active skill because it is tied to King Kai. So some people might not ever like use it. But if you're thinking about purchasing King Kai, I mean, we get into that a little later. You know, his actives are okay. But you know what? Maybe on the topic of, do you want to do? I guess we do Bubbles next.
Yeah.
All right, so Bubbles is pretty fun. It's basically like the blooper from like Mario Kart, if you think about it. And Stray had a very, very, very unique experience with this active skill. So please, by all means, Stray.
Yeah, one time I had a video. I don't know what was the criteria for it, and I don't think it's been replicated at all / patched if it's still a thing. But I was in an underwater cave with Raccoon, and someone used bubbles on me, and then a flame wall went up, and bubbles landed on me. And he did not get off. I was stuck. I was stuck with. It's not bubbles. I can say bubbles. Bobo. Wait, is it bubbles or Bobo?
It's bubbles. I know you got it.
Okay. God dang, bro. Drake and Josh fans. Bobo. But bubbles. Yeah. He stayed on me even through an area destruction. The only time I was able to get him off was evolving to Jason Birder. But that was a fun glitch, and it did a lot, bro. I couldn't. It made the game a lot harder.
Yeah, I feel like the actual time he's supposed to be on your face is like what, 3 to 5 seconds maybe, and
something like that. Yeah.
Have you had like on the Survivor side? Now I know you had an interesting experience on the Raiders side, but I guess actually you play more Raider than me, hands down. What do you think about it, like on the Raiders perspective, and what do you think on the Survivor's perspective?
So Raider, it's more of just like a funny annoyance.
Yeah.
If you're skillful enough, you can still key blast and hit people. And I believe your melee's like canceled out when you're blinded by it. Kind of like the same thing with Shu. It gets rid of the lock on everything, so you can't melee. You'll just spam key blast. But you can still see out of the corners, so you can position yourself to see and then aim accordingly. So it's more of just an annoyance, but it can definitely hinder Raiders. Survivor side, it's a little difficult to land sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes Bubbles be dancing around and not hitting or jumping at him, and he can get killed by key blasts. I will admit that. The Raider can actually lock onto him, so it's kind of like a fun little distraction. But other than that, like it's kind of tough to land in my eyes.
Yeah, I think the cooldown is also fairly long as well. It's 90 seconds. I have it mastered, and I think it only shade off 1 second. So. They don't want you using this active skill all that much apparently. I think
like 7 survivors doing that would be great.
Yeah, that would be kind of honestly potential videos, right? That would be kind of fun. Did you hop on PlayStation? I get all the homies using bubbles on you, dude. It'd be your worst nightmare, man. But in terms of its placement, I feel like C again, right? For King Kai, wouldn't you say? Like I don't know. Do you think it beats here?
No, because like if I'm looking to, blinds, I'll just use Shoe over Bubbles. It's gonna land more frequently. It stuns them anyways. It's definitely a funny thing to have, and it's a very fun ability.
Yeah.
But it's not really practical in my eyes. Although I have escaped by using it one time, like the Raiders just couldn't see.
Yeah, no, once or twice it has helped. Do you think it's above like Change or Instant Descent? I feel like it's not above Telepathy in my opinion. But what about you?
I think Information is better than just blinding. I think it's above Change and Instant Descent because it can help the team.
Fair enough.
But I don't yeah. It's debatable. It's
speaking of helping the team, dude, let's talk about wall defense, bro. Wall defense. I personally always thought this active skill was trash. I never really used it all that much, but I don't think it's that if we put it in D tier, I think it's above Scouter. But do you think it's worthy of D tier? I feel like C is also like fine. I don't even see it higher than that.
So I have newfound respect for this one. Only because before, remember, this was nerfed. This got nerfed.
Did it? I actually did not know that.
Because it used to go very far across the map, almost like its own instant transmission.
Really?
You could use it and you'd block the person that the raider was targeting. And they nerfed it because obviously that's kind of ridiculous. But it's a low cooldown. It's a very fun ability, but it really puts you in a very dangerous situation. And it's very much like we started talking about a team ability. You're sacrificing yourself pretty much. But low C, I don't know, because if you have a Shenron on the field and you use it, it's like a free CC break for your Shenron if they get meleeed, or if they're like the Ginyu Super, you can block all of it, even with Jason Birder.
Would you say low B then? Do you think low B?
I think it's high C. It's very situational. There are times where I just like can't even use it, or there's just like I'm not in the vicinity to use it. But I think it is a very good ability because it's a low cooldown and it acts as
30
like
seconds
if you were a member of the Ginyu Force. Like you would literally jump in to help your team.
30 seconds I think is pretty fair. I need to revisit it for sure because I've only used it.
It's a very fun ability.
Yeah, I've only used it like selfishly, and I think people, if they use it selfishly, it's normally, I mean, I say selfish, but just like you use it solo, it's normally just to stall out the raider and kind of waste their time a little bit.
Yeah, you're gonna die right after.
Yeah, exactly. And if they melee you, you get knocked back. That's pretty much it, but I feel like the information value that you get at Telepathy might be better, but we could always revisit this. Do you think wall defense should go above?
Personally, maybe. I think it can drop Dragon Balls, if they try and melee you. I don't know if it gets rid of the gauge. I would have to look at some old videos, but
yeah. I mean,
I know it used to.
Yeah.
But
for the low cooldown of 30 seconds, I think that does give it the little edge over Telepathy there. So I think that's fair. All right, I'll let you pick the next one.
Let's talk about Go Go Gun.
Go Go Go, bro. This is one that I think you and I, like everybody under the sun, thought this was going to be cracked just because of how good it is on Boo. And then we got it, and it just wasn't exactly what we were expecting.
It's terrible, bro. It's not even like it's so bad. When 60-second cooldown can be destroyed by Ki Blast, and it misses half the time. It has no tracking whatsoever.
It does. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's kind of like a worse version of a shoe, right? Because it has like basically the same amount of tracking, has a longer cooldown as well, and doesn't even really hold it.
Doesn't stun as long either.
Yeah, it doesn't even stun as long. Actually, I'm trying to look for it. I don't even think I have it mastered. I'm just trying to like show the people like what it does. But yeah, it's a 60-second cooldown, right? On that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a minute.
Yeah, 60 seconds.
Which makes no sense. I think what they tried to do between that and the shoe is they thought because it was faster, it would be better. But it's just like anytime you can actually land it, you got to be straight on them. And most of the time when they're straight on you, they're spamming Ki Blast chasing you.
Exactly.
Right? And it's just going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
Very rare where you're like in a small area where you use it, and then they'll just use like their CC break and hit you after. Like it's Not a good one in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think it's so bad I even bother mastering it. That's why I had to go into the time chamber to look at it. I was just like, screw that, dude. But yeah, if you're gonna use this, I would just use Shoe, right? Like, why even bother? So I feel honestly,
Shoe also has the lock-on thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, the added bonus with that. Honestly, I feel like we could put this. Do we put this in D? I feel like
honestly, put it above Scholar. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think people will like it, but unless you've had better experiences or like a secret tech, this is not a good move. It needs to be a shorter cooldown or a longer stun.
It's funny, bro. I don't know what it looks like when I'm sharing my screen, but it kind of looks like pigs in a blanket, like a little hot dog, like wrapped in a little bun.
It does look like that, yes.
Alrighty.
I haven't had those in forever.
All right. Dude, let's do. Actually, is it even on here? I wanted to do the radar detection device, but I don't know if it's on here, unfortunately. But that would be in a tier of its own.
Enemy radar.
Yeah, the enemy radar.
Yeah, bro. I tried a video.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yeah.
I just couldn't. Like, it was so pointless, bro.
Yeah. It's like, what does it even do, right? All right, I'm gonna add a row just for it.
You're good.
Okay. We'll make it pink. Why not, dude? Oh, oops. I'm editing the wrong one. I'll just keep that pink then. Screw it. Make this one. Make this purple. We'll call it. I don't know. Enemy. I can't even spell the word enemy right. Wait, am I? No, I'm not. Enemy. Fuck.
I'm gonna be around blank and just right click that shit. There you go.
Enemy radar W. I can't even think of a silly funny pun for that, so we're just gonna put that down here, bro.
It's definitely a weird name. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we really need to explain this one. I'm not even sure. Do you know what it does? Like, what the purpose of it? I mean,
yeah, so I've tried it, and I've tried different tech with it, but essentially you just throw it, like, in the direction you're looking. So you could, I think you could look down, and you can just throw it straight down. But here's the thing. If it hits something or collides with something, it will break.
Yep.
So if you throw it up, and it hits one of the hill thing, it's useless. It's gone. And it only lasts for a little while, and it only basically, I guess if they don't know what this does, you throw a little item out, it sends out like little pulses, and if the raider is kind of near it, it will show where the raider is. So it's like a worse version of telepathy. Because sometimes the raider might not even be in there, and you won't get any information, and other times it will just break right away. So it's so like pointless.
I feel like the only way they could make this like ability kind of fun is if like you threw it at the raider and it kind of like knocked them back a little bit. Like that'd be fun. But like it's trash. Like it's garbage.
That should be like a sticky grenade if you like hit it on them.
Yeah, right. Dude, imagine as a sticky grenade. It's kind of like a tracking device for like a little bit. That'd be cool. Dude, we need to be on the dev team, man. This is wild.
We honestly do. I'm tired of this.
Alrighty, what's the next?
What is that one? Let's do Smokescreen. It's an interesting one.
Smokescreen was actually one of my favorites back in the day. Where the hell is it, Mike? Oh, there it is. Yeah, back in the day it was one of my favorites, but I feel like actually I think this might be like platform dependent, just because I feel like for PC it might be not the greatest, because obviously y'all can like aim with the mouse and stuff, but for console, you know, it's a little more difficult for people to aim just because it's not as precise. But what do you think?
So I wish it did like a little, like, I don't know how I could really improve it, because it does its job. It removes the lock on, but like you said, like they're just gonna spam key blast no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe make it like a bigger splash zone, like AOE, to like literally, and make it a little more denser so that you can't see anything, and so maybe the survivor can slip out somehow. It's a very small area. Like I don't know honestly where I'd put it, but I know it's above Go-Go Gum, because at least it has a little bit of a use. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I just feel like in season 1 I used it a lot, but I just feel like it's not really that great. And like you said, people are gonna spam key blast anyway, or like they could just toss the super attack in there, toss like if they're playing Frieza, they could toss Zarbon or Doria or whatever. Like they could do like a number of different things to like kind of counter this. But but you know, it's there. It's a way to negate lock on.
Yeah.
All right. Dude, let's do Till next, dude. Till is one of these meme abilities I thought we could throw in its own tier. But I tried to make this ability look good by maxing it out. If you guys don't know, you can actually increase the fine rate on Till by upgrading it. It's not just like a thing that decreases the cooldown. The item discovery rate is increased by a whopping 5% if you spend like 20,000 spirit, right? Or whatever the hell it is to like max a thingy out. So in terms of Till, you know, it's live or die by RNG, right? There have been times where I've gotten a super soda from it. There have been times I've gotten a green. There's been times where I've gotten Zenny. And there's times where I've gotten jack shit. So it's just like, it's very RNG dependent. But what do you think about it, Stray?
I mean, the real question is it above Scouter?
Oh, man, that dude, it's like mid versus mid, right? Like not even mid. It's just like, what do you, like, yeah, that is good. I don't know, bro. Honestly, I mean, I guess for the cooldown, technically Till is better. And although you could be getting nothing with Till, at least you have the chance. Or like Scouter, yep. it's just for civs. So yeah, I guess Till is better than Scouter at the very least. Dude, Till W, honestly. Till W.
W Till.
Yeah. Alrighty. What next do you want to tackle, dude?
Let's do item search, because not a lot of people even know this one exists. Item
search. I imagine you and I have both done like the showcase where we combined this with like exploration enthusiast to like find crates and whatnot. It's a cool active skill. I would say it's better than Scouter because it serves like more of a purpose like throughout the game. It's better than Till.
I put above Till because it's got that use where you're trying to find that last like box that might have the key in it, bro. Because there's been a lot of games where I just can't find that last box now. Yeah,
that is true. I mean, I feel like we're kind of like picking at hairs of like, oh, is it better than Go Gum and Smokescreen? Like, I mean, you can make arguments potentially, but like, it's definitely better than Till and Scouter, right? Like, I feel like nobody's really gonna argue
it's
that.
Fine there. It's a D-tier ability, guys. You ain't gonna use it too much. It's nice to see where boxes are, but like, that's all it does. It's not helping anyone.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing a video. I think it was Tito was covering. He was like wall hacks. I was just like, yo, wall hacks in the game. And like, then I found out what it does. Like, oh, is this for crates, bro? I'm like, damn, man. But I feel like
if it lasts like a decent amount, like I don't know, maybe like.
Yeah.
What I think it would make it better is if you could see what's in the item box.
That would be good. Cool. That would be dope, actually. But no shots at Tito's, by the way. I just thought that was funny. Just like really hyping up like item search, like wall hacks. All right, moving along. I want to do one of my faves, dude. One of my faves, which is Floating Device. Floating Device, personally, bro. If I were to keep my biases on, I could put it in S. Just for like all the things that you can do with it, how it impacts like landing delay, how it helps you escape the raider with jumping into it, which is a lot of tech I feel like a lot of people don't know or utilize. Just traversing the map, the 30-second cooldown of it. I feel like we could put it in S, but I would accept high A. I would also accept high A. Or just A.
My bias puts it in S as well.
Let's go, dude. Floating Device W. Floating Device W.
I think it just does so much. Yes. The fact that you can use cooldown drinks on it while still moving.
Yep.
You can soul flare while still moving. You can throw shoe, go gum, barrier device. It's just a crazy ability. And the D change jump.
Yeah, no, the D change jump is like so crucial to like what I do in matches. It's a staple. It's a staple to like all my kits, and you can't beat that.
And weirdly enough, though, I don't know if you've experienced this. When the Raider's spamming Key Blast, it has like an invincibility frame for like a couple seconds, like because I can still get it out and jump away, but like even if I'm getting spammed with Key Blast for a while. I don't know, maybe if I'm body blocking it, but.
Yeah, no, I will say, like, typically, like, Raiders really have to make an effort to destroy it. Like, I feel like typically it's not, like, something that's, like, easily taken out. But, yeah, no, I feel like you can't beat, like, the 30-second cooldown and, like, all the different, like, combinations you could do. Like wall kick, you get the momentum off of that and stuff. Yes. It's just so many different things. I am a little upset, though. They actually did, like, soft nerf this skill. Because back in the day, you would get momentum off of, like, Kaioken Rush. Off of Floating Device. So they have like nerfed certain things about it, but like it's still so good.
They might nerf more because of how crazy it is. I don't
They may.
want them to, but
They may. Also, if you guys don't know, there's a little like extra like tech to it. If you jump on the floating device instead of just walking into it, you actually do get a little more height. If you like continuously bounce on it, the height does increase gradually, which is like kind of cool. But you know, you don't always get the use side of that. But little neat thing you can do. All right. Did I pick last or was it you? I forget.
You picked floating.
All right. So what you want?
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with one of my favorites since the closed beta, bro. It's gotta be Trap Device.
Trap Device. Yeah. No, I low key forgot about this. This was like one of the earlier stuns, like one of the ones you could get for free, right? I think it's still good in defending the STM, in my opinion. I think it's still good for that. But in terms of like where it belongs, I feel like C at the very least, but I feel like B is fair.
I think low B is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know is you can reactivate it to put it where you want. So if you go into a cave, if you just go onto the side, you can, you know, adjust it how you want. It'll be right in the middle. Raider will most likely hit it. Also, if the Raider doesn't destroy it when you're like on the time machine and the cooldown expires, it will literally be right back up. Like as soon as it gets destroyed, you can throw out another one.
I didn't even realize it's 30 seconds. That's actually wild. 30 seconds pretty cool.
Because season 1, man, before Raiders like flew above the time machine and just spam key blast, right? It was so fun looping that thing around with trap devices and everything. You would see like 6 or 5 trap devices. It was great.
Yeah, and it lasts a long time too. Like you can get stunned by it. I think it's stunned again, even if you like run into it, right?
Yeah, if the Raiders try and move, that was a fun little weird thing about it. If the Raiders try and move after you get stunned by it, you can get stunned twice. I don't know if that was intentional, but it happens.
Now, I forget, I mean, it doesn't really matter, like, in terms of the placement. Is that one that you have to purchase, or is that one that's, like, default, like, equipped to you?
Shoot. It might be purchasable, but it's worth it for, like, an early stun.
Yeah, no, if you're watching this and you're a new player, it might be in the item shop, in the devices tab. So I think it's only, like, 12,000, 15,000 cents, something like that. So it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's do Change Missile. This is kind of a toughie. Back in the day, I think this definitely would have been D, like no competition. But since it's buff, and it might go down a couple pegs, considering the fact that it can be combined with landing delay, which gives it an extra boost. But I feel like at the very least it's A, but I feel like you could make the argument for S. I really do think you could make the argument for S. What do you think?
I think it's above everything we have on A right now. But I mean, the only issue though is sometimes, like, I mean, it's a great, even without landing delay, it's your getaway tool. But if you're not running grapple, right, it's just good. My only issue is that, like, when Raiders are key blast spamming me, I always have to go at an angle, because if you don't go at enough of an angle, they can hit you.
That is true.
And sometimes going at that angle, you can't get away because you're essentially just going in a circle. So
yeah,
but I love it, man. I mean, since the buff, it's a great ability. S tier is just, it's debatable. I really don't know what.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I think A, it definitely is where it belongs. You can argue, like, in terms of placement, but it was dog shit. It was terrible before the buff. So I'm glad they, like, revisited it, because it, you know, it's a neat looking passive, and it's cool, and it gives, like, you know, Oolong players like some reason to use Oolong. I mean, if you master it, you don't have to play Oolong. But it is cool that you know, one of Oolong's like iconic abilities is actually viable. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Are you up next, or is it me? I forget.
I'll just go. I think you did it. Let's just get Listen out of there too.
Oh, dude, I forgot. I thought we got all the bad ones out of the way. Where is it?
I think that's the. I like how we just say it's a bad one. I think that's our last bad one.
Yeah, this one. I mean, it's D, right? It's just like, where does it belong? I mean, honestly, it's better than Scouter. It's better than Scouter, because
it has a lower cooldown.
It has a lower cooldown, and it basically does the same thing as Scouter. I mean, granted, the actual like search radius might not be as good, But I think it is. It's a really short cooldown. I forget if it's like 15 seconds. I gotta double check it right now.
I think it's like 10 if you get it to plus 10.
Yeah, it's 20 seconds.
Like
It's
maybe.
20 seconds cooldown. I think you max out, it's 15. So that's actually kind of wild.
All right.
I tried using this with my ultimate hearing build with Gohan, that Gohan passive, and then this is my active. Didn't really help that much, but you know, it's not good.
It's just item search for civs. That's what it is.
Basically. And I would say purely because of the cooldown, it's above Scouter. But that's pretty much the only reason. And I don't think it's better than anything else. But we'll move on. All right. Let's do Dragon Ball Diviner. So if you guys don't know, this one is one of the free active skills that you can get via the Dragon tier with Baba. Now, I feel like for pre-mades and even solo, this is insane because Dragon Ball rushing is obviously very, very strong. I do personally still value radars over Dragon Ball Diviner, but the fact that you can see where the Dragon Balls are at any time, whether they're on the Raider or if they're in a crate, I think is pretty useful. I originally thought it would have been better or cooler if they made it so the team could see where the balls are, but I feel like that would have been OP. So it's probably they made the right choice there. But Trey, do you think A, B, or S even? Like, what do you think?
So I'm thinking low A.
Okay.
Only because when I did this and I made a build around this ability only, I was getting Shenron all Dragon Balls, usually 2.5 minutes average, like all the time, which is insanely fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
But usually with this ability, you have to pair it with other passives and other active skills to make you go faster. So like by itself, it's not crazy good, and they show you the exact location, but you have like 4 seconds to literally try and memorize where the general location is. So I think low A is a good spot for it because it still has some drawbacks, right? And
I mean, you got a photographic memory. Maybe you'll be really cracked with this. But
and I guess like it's very little negative thing about it, but you don't usually want to play Baba with this, so you have to get this plus 10.
Exactly.
But,
yeah. Alrighty. I think you're next up, right?
Let's do Afterimage.
Afterimage. So I think this. I'm just curious. I just want to have this conversation now. Do you think Boo's Angry Shout will be better than Afterimage?
So there's 2 ways you can look at this, and I'm loving these like 2 active skills that like are kind of like counter opposites, kind of like Charming and Solar Flare.
Yeah.
I think Afterimage and Angry Shout are going to do the same thing. So if Angry Shout does not get rid of the gauge, Afterimage is just purely better in a certain way, because if usually what you want to do is when they melee you Afterimage, then you throw out a stun or literally just a super right away, and generally it will hit, but then sometimes Afterimage cucks you and then the melee animation like hits you because you're still close to the Raider, which is very annoying. But Afterimage gives you a chance to do something where Angry Shout is just going to knock him back and you're in like Ki Blast spam range again, so I don't really know. I see.
Yeah, I mean, it's at a very short cooldown of only 30 seconds. You get it all the way down to 25 if you max it out. So I feel like anything lower than B would be kind of troll. Do you think it belongs in like A or even S?
Nah, I think B's good.
Okay.
It's annoying when survivors are running it, especially the Shenron. You know, if I'm a Raider, I melee him and he just gets out of it. It's just kind of annoying.
Do you think it's higher than some of these others? I feel like it could be at the top of B potentially, just for like some of the combos you can do.
Yeah, because like it's a free CC break, man, and with Angry Shout coming in, you get 2 free CC breaks and you're Shenron, bro.
Yeah.
Like Raiders are in for a rough time. I'm telling you, this next banner is gonna be better, bro.
Straight. What do you mean, bro? Raiders are OP, man. My favorite Dragon Ball YouTubers have told me this since release, man. What are you talking about, bro? There's no way. All right. Yeah, I think we'll leave this here for now. You could make the argument some of these you can move these around, but I feel like this is fair. I mean, it belongs in B regardless. I think B is totally fair.
I'm starting to think I was a little too generous with Zipline up there, but I don't know.
Zipline and A?
See.
Ooh, yeah, maybe.
Just because I'm looking at Nimbus and Afterimage.
Yeah, I think, let's just do this now.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because Zipline is good, but like no one's using it, and you can't use it in the air. Like, It's either like, if you want to say it's above Nimbus, sure, but I feel like it's below Nimbus personally.
I think it's below Nimbus.
Yeah, you could even argue it's below these two, but I'll just leave it here for now.
Yeah, it's alright.
Next up, let's do Flames of Mount Frypan, dude. So originally, this move probably would have been in like S or like high A. I still think it probably could be placed in A or at the very least B. But before, there was a bug with this active skill where certain Ki Blast, and I think even super attacks, could not penetrate the wall. Pause, sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. But it couldn't be destroyed, basically is what I'm trying to say. And it was very cracked. And you could basically set up a box. You could box in the Raider, and back in volley meta, dude, it was insane. But
yeah.
what are you thinking now, Stray, in terms of
I mean, it was just this move's been busted since release, bro. There's been so many issues with it. And I think it's finally at an okay place.
Yeah.
I remember I got boxed in with 2 and I just kept bouncing back and I couldn't move. Right? No one was even doing anything to me. I just kept getting hit back and forth.
Does it still knock you off the STM if someone uses it on it, or no? I forget.
No, I don't think that's a thing anymore. The Raider should still be able to like destroy it.
Gotcha.
Even like if it's on the same side. I'll have to read the patch notes again, but it's not as effective as it was before.
Yeah.
But I mean, where did we put it? Low A?
Yeah, I put it yeah, low A. Yeah.
That's a good spot. You know, it still has its uses. Like I think you said in your Survivor video, you know, helping teammates revive, Shenron summon, time machine. It's just there, you know, to annoy the Raider. For
sure. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, if we got like down to nitty gritty, maybe like is Afterimage better, or is like some of these like I don't know, but like I feel comfortable putting it A. Like it doesn't
I personally anything team related will be a little bit above a solo skill for me. But
true. I agree on that. All right. Next up, what you got, Stray? What you want to do?
Let's do bike.
Bike, dude. Yo, bike. Back in the day, this would have been here and it would have been clear, bro. Absolutely not even close, bro. Absolutely clear is everything on this list. But one thing I will say, hats off to the entire Dragon Ball The Breakers community. I was very impressed to see that there wasn't like an outcry. Like, and there was some initial like, oh man, they're nerfing this. This was a free skill. We all had access to it. But I think we all kind of understood of how stupid this was. Yes, I think in terms of it being nerfed, I feel like it definitely deserved it. But where do you think it belongs? It's definitely not an S. Not anymore.
I'm thinking like mid B. You think C? I don't think it's that bad.
You know what? Not C, yeah, because there actually has been time where some people have dusted me with bikes to this day, with this, you know, even with the nerf in place.
Yeah.
It always had a fairly short cooldown, and with the vehicle speed boost, like you flew, dude.
Yeah.
And bro.
Without the speed boost, it's trash. Like,
yes.
They don't use it.
Yeah.
But
it was basically a free get out of jail card with like barrier and bike. Like barrier and bike was super toxic, man. It was really like, bro. If someone popped barrier, they had bike, they were gone. Like there's nothing you could do. It was
sometimes even just bike would just outrun. Like the key, you couldn't do it. You couldn't catch up.
Yeah, dude, I remember especially on Waterfront Warzone, man. Like people would just like use the bike in A, and they would just like, you know, circle around like the caves in A. It was like cat and mouse. It's Tom and Jerry.
I would in Frieza's ship on Highland. I'd just go below Frieza's ship and go in a circle.
Yeah,
it was great. They can't do anything.
Yeah. So I mean, back in the day, definitely would have cleared everything else, but it has fallen off, and I think it definitely deserved the fall off because it was too good. It was way too good.
Maybe I'm being too generous, but I'm looking at bike and I'm like, wall defense. No, it's a good place. I think it's.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, I was super boot, and it has dusted my Ki Blast. It's kind of similar to Rocket. It like depends on the angle or like what direction you're going. If you're going straight away from the Raider, you're gonna get blown up. But if you're going like on a certain direction or a path, like you know, it can still work. But barrier bike is dead. Barrier bike is dead, I would say. All right. In terms of next, dude, let's do Pod. Let's do Pod. Pod has been through the ringer, bro. Pod has been like the best. It's been the worst. It's now kind of like okay. I feel like feel like B is acceptable for pod, but what do you think, Stray, in terms of like the pod?
I'm thinking B. I was never a huge fan of it just because of how long, like back in season 1 or even closed beta, it took a long time for that thing to drop.
Yeah.
And it was a long cooldown. Now I think it's in an okay spot. Shorter cooldown, comes down faster. It can knock the Raider off the time machine as well as get rid of the knockback gauge so you can get the Dragon Balls.
True.
But that's only the one-time use, and you gotta wait however long for that.
Also, a little extra tech you could do with it. For some reason, landing delay also works with it. Odd, but it does. I mean, it makes sense, but also it kind of doesn't. But I mean, we'll take it. Landing delay W.
I mean, if you want to go further tech, if you run landing delay and then the intro scene with the Saiyan Pod, you can start off going a little faster.
Yeah, if you guys don't know that, because I don't know if I ever showcased it. I don't know if you did, Stray, but if you guys actually equip the intro, the pod intro, and you have landing delay, you get landing delay at the very beginning of the game. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, but it is kind of neat that you can do that. Yeah. But in terms of its placements, I mean, I feel like what holds it back is that it takes so long to land, and I wish it kind of stayed longer. It disappears, by the way, as well. Like, it doesn't last, like, when it's called. Like, it will just, like, vanish for some reason. I feel like if they were to adjust it again, they should make it stay. Because, like, say if you were planting a key and, like, the Raider is coming, you could call pod early, leave it there, then just leave and dip, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah.
But, I feel like definitely no higher than B. Any lower than C, I feel like would be a little unfair. What do you think, B or C?
I personally think it's better than everything we have in C.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna say low B.
Yeah, you can make the. Do I give it better than Bike? I'll make it better than Bike just because of the gauge thing, like the gauge being a thing. What do you think?
I think that's fine. I've had a lot of clutch moments where people use Saiyan Pod and stop the time or Raider from destroying the time machine. Yeah. So I have respect for a lot of these abilities that maybe some people just haven't seen like the full potential of some of them. So
yeah, there is a combo you could do with Pod. I thought it was Copium. People were telling me use Pod and Barrier, use Pod and Barrier. I'm like, bro, Pod is still trash.
Yep, I've done it before.
yeah. No, I didn't know it was a thing. So if you guys don't know, if you never have done it, when you call Pod, it lands, right? And the Raider, they can just spam Key Blast where it's going to land and it'll be destroyed. But if you use Barrier where it's going to land, it won't knock you away and you can just go into it, right? And just be on your merry way. But there are like some counters, like very like, like special counters like Nappa's like grenade that goes all the way up. So that like completely like obliterates Pod.
Yeah.
But like that is a cool thing you can do with Pod, like Barrier and Pod. But yeah, you might be able to argue above Trap Device, but maybe we'll leave it like this.
Overall, it's a B tier ability. I think it's good, decent.
All right. I think you're up next.
Yeah, let's do Let Me Heal You.
Let Me Heal You. Yeah, this is an active that I'm really glad they included to the game, just because I feel like in terms of builds in this game, like there's like Raider rushing, there's like finding things, but there hasn't been that many supportive skills in the game, especially when it comes to actives. So I'm really glad that this is in the game. I feel like in terms of value, you could argue like either S or high A, but I feel like A at the very least. What do you think?
It's very tough for me. I want to say S, but I know like I don't know. High A. I'll say a high A for now, but in my heart, it's S. The fact that you can just get an insta res is so nice.
It's basically a senzu whenever you want, right? You think about it, like. I mean, dude, I feel like we put it in S. I feel like you could make that argument, man. I mean, I feel like it'd definitely be at the end of S. I'll put it in S for now.
If we want to be crazy, like pair it with Dragon Clan healing, if we're going to the passives, and if we're pairing it with Exploration Enthusiast for the cooldown times for active skills, it's a cracked out ability. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think its based cooldown is like 180, so it is very long. It is very long, and if you max it, I think it's like 175. But yeah, an instant heal, you can't really beat that. Like it's very valuable, very valuable, especially like during the defense phase when you need like as many people up as you can get.
Yeah.
All right, let's do we'll save Solar Flare and Charming Post for last because that'll be a fun one to do.
Yeah.
Let's do Power Unleashed. I feel like this skill is one that is very like skill based. It's not one you could just throw on and use willy-nilly. Has a lot of usages. You can use it as a level 4 as like a form of super armor. You could use it as a, a quick way to like melee combo the raider to get them to like, deplete their gauge and whatnot. It has a lot of usages, but the cooldown is very long, and the transformation really only allows for like one super attack. So it's very, you can't just pop this and just like, do crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's gotten a little down in my eyes. I don't know why. It's just, I think it's still good, but it definitely was a thing for like the volley meta. I feel like back when we would try and kill the raider as fast as we could.
Yeah.
It still has uses, like you said, just get like being on par with the level of the raider. Shenron's a great one. I don't know if it still knocks people back if you use it while you're in D-change, but that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Like, let's say Ginyu does that stupid super with Jason Birder, you can power unleash, you can tank a little bit more of it.
Yeah.
But where you put it, I'm actually somewhat okay with it.
Yeah, I was thinking at most it's low A. I could probably actually, do I move it? Like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it definitely belongs in B. Well, then. Is it better? I feel like it's better than Zipline, right? I mean, maybe Zipline's just maybe not in the right spot.
Yeah, Zipline's just too funny, bro. There's a special place in my heart for team abilities like wall defense and Zipline. I don't know.
We'll just put it over here for now. Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. Like in reality, bro, there's like 6 people that use that skill, and like it's us included.
But it doesn't matter about how many people use it.
That is true.
Actually, maybe it does, because if everyone used it in the game, it would be crazy good, because everyone could just move throughout the map like insane. But if one person uses it, it's not getting that much value.
Yeah. Alrighty. Next up, let's do. Actually, you pick. I apologize.
Let's get Kaioken out of there.
Kaioken. So back in the day, this is one of my favorites, man. Like pairing it with Floating Device, but it has been nerfed that you don't get the momentum with it. But it has gotten a soft buff that will be removed, down the line, unfortunately. Stray originally found it out on his short. It's actually how I peeped it. The fact that you can combine this with Landing Light and get a huge boost of speed with it. And I think it depletes the gauge, and I don't know if it deals any damage. Does it? I think it does, like a little bit of damage.
I think it's like the same damage as like if you were to land missile or maybe 2 rockets. I'm sure it does a little more than like I don't know, dead missile. But...
Yeah. I feel like you could argue like high C, but B feels like acceptable as well.
I think it's better than Telepathy if we put in C.
Yeah.
The startup time for me is my only turn off.
Yes. That's
literally the only thing.
That's been Kaioken Rush's like biggest issue since since it's been in the game. I'm curious, Stray, when you got breakers, what was the skill that you got with your guaranteed ticket? Which was the one that you got? Do you remember?
Well, if I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Krillin shoe.
Really?
I've been a shoe fanatic since season 1.
I thought I could have sworn it. I think it was Solar Flare, Pod, and Kaioken Rush were the options, unless I'm crazy. Like for the guaranteed ticket.
Maybe. I don't really remember. I did use 4 stuns back in the day because that was before like the stun nerf. But
gotcha. Okay. Just curious. But the big thing was that like people were saying like to pick Solar Flare with the guaranteed ticket. I just thought that was like insane because Kaioken Rush was really good back then.
Wait. I actually have no idea what you're saying, bro. I don't even wait.
Oh, really?
I thought you just meant like my first tickets I used.
Yeah, no. I think at launch with breakers, you had a guaranteed 5-star ticket, and you could use it either on Kaioken Rush, Saiyan Pod, and Solar Flare.
Okay, I'd have to say I probably used it on Solar Flare.
Wow, see, I would have came at you crazy, bro. Because I just thought that was insane because like the 5 stars I feel like was better. But anyway, that's like a whole freaking that's a whole thing. So in terms of Kaioken Rush, I think it fits in C. Its cooldown is like what is it, 60 seconds, and if you max it, it's 55. It depletes the gauge. It can work with landing delay, but I feel like in terms of the startup really holding it back, I think it belongs where it belongs. Let's see. Alrighty, all right. So we got the big baddies here, man. Energy field, instant transmission, charging pose, solar flare. Man, I guess let's do energy field first, man. I mean this is S, right? Like.
So if I'm trying to be like devil's advocate here, by itself,
This is true. Yeah.
is it really that great besides like maybe in the time machine phase defending it, right? I I think I mean, first of all, it's low S or high A for me, like off the bat.
Yeah.
It definitely has its usage. The cooldown is low enough for Vegeta's Monkey Stomp. You can use that. It's great. But if we're doing the full potential of Energy Field, it's S tier. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, we were grading these, because some of these we aren't grading them like purely on their own, so I feel like it's only fair to put this in S because of that. But yeah, I mean, you guys know about IT Barrier, bro. Whether you use it, whether it's been used against you, it is a very, honestly, Stray and I could do a whole video just talking about instant transmission and Barrier, or just Barrier in general, and what it like allows survivors to do, like all the different combinations you can do, because you can land a free super attack with it. You can take damage, you can tank the stomp, like Stray was saying. Bike Barrier was a thing back in the day, how crazy that was. Like, Barrier is always going to be running around. I really do not see a time where it's just going to, like, disappear unless they nerf it heavily. But, yeah, I know it's, like, every Raider's worst nightmare to, like, catch a survivor, and then they pop Barrier, and then they just do whatever the hell they want afterwards, right?
Yeah, it's literally every time. I think most Raiders can vibe with this, is when you're attacking a survivor and they bury you, you're kind of like, you roll your eyes a little bit. You're kind of like,
oh god,
okay, here we go. Like, you're waiting for a split second to see if they IT
exactly,
or if they like do something else. It's kind of funny.
I was like, as soon as they pop Barrier, it's like IT, and then they don't do it. You do like a little party like inside your head. You're like, thank God, bro, I have a chance.
Like, oh, okay, I can just follow this guy for 5 seconds. Like, maybe good.
Yeah, but even like Barrier, like Rocket, like even like isn't the worst like thing. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do, man. But I guess Barrier and IT kind of go hand in hand. I mean, bro, honestly, I think we could even make a new tier and put like IT and Z. What do you think? Do you think that'd be crazy?
I mean, I'm sorry, IT is a very good move with multiple uses. If I'm trying to like compare it to floating device, bro,
that's fair.
Because IT you can use it with Barrier, right? That's, I think, the one thing you can use it with. Because you can't. I don't think you can combine it with anything else. Like,
no,
maybe.
Not to my knowledge.
Smoke bomb, dude.
Smoke bomb
got
IT.
A little bit of a startup. Wait, what?
I was gonna say smoke bomb IT. Imagine.
I mean, I've tried, but like I said, key blast spam.
Yeah.
IT is very good. I love it. Gets out, gets the people that need to be revived. Clutch situations. I don't know. It's just too good. Its own tier. I don't know. That's up to.
Yeah. No. I mean, maybe I'm glazing a little too much, but I feel like it definitely. I mean, it's a guarantee. It clears S, right? It's definitely 100% an S.
Yeah. No,
and it's just like the verticality or like the versatility of the move. The fact, like, you can use it for rezzing, you can use it to help jump the Raider, you can use it for escapes. There's so many, like, different usages of this skill. And, in my opinion, for people that hate Barrier IT, people that, like, feel that you need to use Barrier with IT, in my opinion, you really don't, bro. If you can just, like, lose the sight of the Raider, you just get behind a wall, it activates in, like, what, Stray? Like 4 or 5 seconds? Like, it's...
4 seconds.
Yeah, it's really not that long. Like, you can, like, use this like in like perilous situations more than you might think. So for people like, if they ever one day do remove Barrier IT, I do think it's still going to be fantastic. It's always going to be an S, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people, whether it's on Twitch or YouTube, they always trying to pull either IT or Sprint. So IT is just one of those.
Bro, I feel bad, man, because there's times where I'm on these new banners and I pull IT and I'm like, do I get mad? I can't get mad because like there's still people to this like day one players that don't have this skill. So like
I got Sprint so many times, man. It's just.
In terms of order, do you think just because of the combination wise, I think you could argue Energy Field is above IT, but IT is also like, it's literally a get out of jail free card as well. So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough.
Personally, I think I'd put IT above Energy Field. That's personally.
Yeah.
But comments can debate
honestly,
it,
I would probably even do this as well.
Yeah.
And then maybe, I don't know. You could even do that. I don't know. Well, then again, this is like hero all game. I'm happy with this. This I'm happy with. All right. Here we are, Stray. This is like what you were saying, like, what'd you say, Team Edward or Team I forgot that whole thing, like, with Twilight. But, like, yeah, like, what are you Team Charming Pose? Are you Team Solar Flare? I have been very critical of Solar Flare So I don't know which your preference is, Stray. For me personally, I am typically Team Charming Pose just because it comes out faster. Although it does have a longer cooldown, it does reach farther as well. And in terms of consistency, I find Charming Pose to be more consistent. But Solar Flare, if you land it, it is the better stun.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. Everything. Charming Pose by itself, if you compare these two, it shouldn't really be debatable. Charming Pose is the better stun.
Yeah.
But the reason I love Solar Flare so much is one, only stun in the game lets you land Super Spirit Bomb, which is great.
True.
But two, when I use Floating Device, I can just glide with it when I Solar Flare. One of my favorite things to do in the Time Machine phase is to jump pad a little bit away from the Time Machine, fall down on the Raider, and Solar Flare. And sometimes I'll even jump pad, wall kick off the wall, and like Solar Flare the Raider when they're fighting my Shenron up in the sky. Like I'm still able to help as a survivor down there, where Charming Pose, like I'm not able to move, right? I'm stuck in the animation.
Yeah.
If I miss, I'm like I might be screwed if he like turns his attention toward me. But that's the only reason I love Solar Flare. It is the longer stun, but it takes forever to come out sometimes.
It does,
sometimes
man.
it does come out and you still get hit and they don't get stunned. So
yeah. Yeah,
I personally, these two stuns, I think they're A or S tier. I just don't know which one above which one. But
personally, I mean, I think we could put them both in S. I don't think anybody's gonna come at us crazy for it. I mean, if I were to be biased, I would put it in A personally. But I will admit that like this, in terms of skill, I will say Solar Flare is like the more skilled actor to land. It's more difficult to land. Like there's setups for it. Like there's the Afterimage setup for it. If you can hit it raw, like props to you, bro. It is very difficult to hit raw like in the heat of battle or just like defend the STM unless the Raider just doesn't pay attention to you using it. But I have not tried the tech with Floating Device, so maybe I should try that myself.
it's very fun. Very fun.
But I just feel like for consistency's sake, I personally feel Charming Pose is better. But again, I think we both agree that if you can land Solar Flare, it is better. But in terms of like what is easier to land and what is more realistic to land in most scenarios, Charming Pose is kind of what takes it
by itself. And if we compare these to, it's Charming Pose all the way, right? Most of the time, you're not running Super Spirit Bomb, which is kind of the only reason you should run Solar Flare. But I mean, obviously there are other reasons, like I said, the Floating Device. But Charming Pose lets you land literally every super, so there's no need to run Solar Flare if you love Charming Pose.
So I'm curious because I'm a little confused on this. Is the stun time the same for each each Raider level with Solar Flare, or does it differ depending on the level?
It should be the same.
Okay, because I could just wonder if somebody telling me that like the Spirit Bomb, Super Spirit Bomb combo doesn't work at like Raider or later Raider levels. But I guess that might not be the case. So
it should. The only way I can maybe they were mistaken. Where I mean, I've landed my Solar Flare on level 4s all the time, the Spirit Bomb combo. But like maybe they experienced it. I mean, that first of all factors in they could have been a bad Raider. They just didn't like vanish after. I guess. Yeah. They might have had time to move, or whoever told you that maybe they got stunned before and they had that stun duration nerf that happened where if you get stunned too much, the Raider just the stun duration decreases. So if you stun someone 4 times in a row, that 4 stuns gonna only last like not even a second. So
gotcha. I mean, I don't know about you, Stray, but I'm pretty happy with this. Like especially S, I'm pretty content with in terms of like I mean, you could argue maybe Let Me Heal You is like, you know, maybe you could. I mean,
you could barrier Let Me Heal You, bro. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff you could do.
Yeah. I feel like these all belong in S, right? I think maybe you want to make the argument, you want to be really hard on Solar Flare, you put it in A. But I feel like all these belong in S. You could change the order here. I think all of these are pretty cool for A, honestly. B, I'm happy with it. Is there anything that's kind of like picking at you, Stray, in terms of like...
If we're being really critical, and I'm not biased, Solar Flare could go to A.
Yeah.
Wall defense, I know there's like a bunch of people out there that love wall defense. That could be B, but like I think I'm happy with this, like if we're not being super critical.
Yeah, I'm pretty content as well.
I think Solar Flare could go to A. That's the only major thing. I'm just incredibly biased on that.
All right, boys. Well, that is the tier list. A lot of people have been requesting this both from my end and Stray's end, so we figured that we would team up and tag team both the active skills and passives. If you guys have not checked out Stray's passive skill tier list, I helped out with that one as well. It is on Stray's channel. It should be up around the same time this one is up. And thank you, Stray, for hopping on and helping me do this, dude.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Let me know in the comments below if you guys would change the order of certain things. If you're happy with the tiers, happy with the orders, if you think me and Stray were too hard or too generous for certain actives, let us know. Like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to the Ironcane, and subscribe to Stray for more Dragon Ball The Breaker showcases, updates, funny moments, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.